Hi, welcome back to my channel. This today is going to be a review for the latest Mission Impossible film, Dead Reckoning Part 1. And I have had so much excitement for this new movie just because of how much I've loved all of the later entries in the franchise. You know, everything that was done by Christopher McQuarrie has just really worked for me. I genuinely think Fallout is one of the best action movies ever made. I loved everything about it. I just can't fault it. So I was really excited for this release, you know, just seeing all these trailers and all the promo videos and behind the scenes, behind the making of this new one. I've just had so much excitement for it. And I'm really happy to say, having seen it this weekend, that it is absolutely incredible. And in my opinion, easily the best new release we've had this year so far. So yeah, I'm really excited to talk about it today. So let's get into it. So the story here is about this AI technology which has been developed to sort of infiltrate systems, steal information, sabotage systems, stuff like that. And it's now become overpowered and got out of control, and the authorities don't have a way to really get a hold of this AI and get control of it, and they're worried about it getting into the wrong hands. So now Ethan and his team get tasked with finding this two-part key which is said to be able to access the source code of this AI to basically regain control of it again. First of all, I want to talk about all the action sequences here because they are absolutely incredible. And I'm sure if you've been keeping up with you know, the release of this film, you've seen probably all the promo videos and all the marketing, especially surrounding this one particular stunt where Tom Cruise takes this motorbike off the edge of a cliff and goes into like a base jump. And the final result of it in this movie is just unbelievable. It's so insane. And just to know the amount of commitment and dedication that he's put into a stunt like this, you can't not respect, you know, like actually willing to risk your life for just this 1 minute incredible action sequence for our entertainment. You know, I just can't help but love him for that. And I was slightly worried that it was going to be to this scene in particular, because it's, you know, it's the climax of the film. This is the very biggest action sequence you get, or the biggest stunt rather. And I was slightly worried about it being too self-indulgent where, you know, because they spent so much time and set up for it, it was going to be like 20 minutes just showing this one stunt, and not at all. It's really subtle how they bring it in. It's really funny, the lead up to it, like when he's on the phone with Benji leading up to it, and just the way it plays out is hilarious. And the stunt itself, it's just, it's I can't even put it into words how good it is, because it's, you know, you feel so stressed for him because watching it from all the POV and everything, it's really off the scale. So for that stunt alone, this movie would be worth seeing, especially on the big screen. So the action in this film is really nail biting. It stressed me out watching this film, and that's what an action film should do. You know, if you know that an actor, if you can start to see the CGI and the seams aren't tight, and you know they're just in a studio in front of a green curtain on a wire and stuff like that, it does take some of that effect out for me. It takes out the unpredictability, the real feeling of immersion, and it really kills an action scene for me. Whereas with Tom Cruise, you know that if it's possible in life to do this stunt, he is going to be up there doing it for real. Once again, having this group together, the dynamic between them, I absolutely love. You know, Ethan Hunt and his team doing what they do, getting out of these outrageous situations they find themselves in. And I think the standout here for me, to be honest, is this new character they brought in called Grace. And this is played by Haylet Atwell. And yeah, she's the real standout here. She is just so engaging to watch when she's on screen. And she's this character that's basically this professional pickpocketer, and she's also going after this key as well, but for her own reasons, not in terms of getting it for the AI. She's doing it for money and her own goals. And I love how her and Tom Cruise's character come together. I love the sort of, you know, like the dynamic, the chemistry between them just really is convincing. It really works. And yeah, she's just so entertaining to watch as well. I genuinely think, Mission Impossible really knows how to write great female characters. Like, two of my favourite female characters now being her and also, of course, Rebecca Ferguson as Ilsa. Yeah, two of the best female characters in film ever, in my opinion. So, they just know how to write these great, complex, interesting characters that you can really connect with and enjoy, going on this journey with. You believe the relationships that she would have with the team, why she's doing what she's doing. And, they don't make her like, she's really smart, really intelligent, but they don't make her too overpowered where she's, able to be anywhere, do anything. She does have her flaws as well. And, it's kind of a bit of an arc for her in this story. So, yeah, she's a real standout in this film. I think most people will come out of this thinking that she was just great. And Tom Cruise as well. I don't know what it is about him, but I do feel like as he's gone on in his career and as he's got older, for some reason, I just like him more and more. His older films, even though I love a lot of his old work, but I did find in some of them that there's a kind of awe about him where it feels like he took himself very, very seriously. And I don't know if that's just the kind of characters he was playing then, because obviously when he was younger he was kind of fit for a lot of those kind of roles, Few Good Men, stuff like that. He did play them well, but I just feel like there's something more self-aware about his characters as he gets older and the way he plays them. Like, there's moments where he's kind of almost poking fun of himself for the roles that he's playing, even though you can still see how seriously he's taken it. He's given 110%. You can see how committed he is to making this role perfect. But there's some qualities about him that he's bringing to these roles where I just find you warm to him so quickly. You easily make a connection with him. So, yeah, I really hope for the foreseeable future we can get more and more of these Tom Cruise releases. I know he's already in his 60s now, but he seems to be on absolute fire right now. So I really hope he keeps them coming, because I just feel like, honestly, he's at the top of his game. Something here as well is this movie absolutely justifies its massive near 3-hour runtime. And you probably heard me criticising a lot, starting to feel the length on certain movies and feeling like the content has not justified a massive running time like 3 hours. And it's not that I don't like long films, I do, but just they have to have a good story that intrigues you, that keeps you interested, keeps you engaged, and has the characters and the story to warrant that. And this is an example of something that really does. You will not feel that running time here at all. I was not bored for a second. The 3 hours just flew by. I couldn't believe when the end credits came up. I weirdly half expected there to be, it start off with a whole nother sequence. But no, I couldn't believe it. So don't be put off at all by this long running time, because you genuinely won't feel it, just because of how entertaining everything they're showing you here is. It's difficult to say if there's things that I would call a negative here. I didn't leave the movie feeling disappointed about any of the elements here. I think maybe if I was really looking for something that I thought they could have done better, I would say when it comes to the specifics of this AI technology, it's left a bit general, sort of up in the air. They talk about it more as this general imposing threat without going into the specifics of what's something this AI could take control of or infiltrate that would really cause havoc in people's lives or could pose a threat to the world. They don't really go into specifics with that, so it ends up feeling like they're talking about it on a more general level. And then I do think there's scenes as well where it feels, it does feel convoluted to some extent, where you have, there's a scene in a club where a number of the characters are all sort of giving us a lot of exposition about this AI and who it affects and why certain people can or shouldn't have it. And to me, I'm not sure it flows naturally. It's interesting to listen to, like the content of it is interesting. I'm just like, if I try to look at that objectively, I'm like, maybe it doesn't flow completely naturally. It's kind of difficult to describe without going into real in-depth details with what they're talking about in this scene, but I'm sure a lot of people will see what I mean when they watch this. But I think if there's anything they could have maybe handled a bit better, it was the sort of narrative and the details behind this AI technology and how they were actually going to show us in the film about the effects that this was going to have on the world. I think the only other thing I would say as well is before the opening credits, you know, in all these Mission Impossible entries, you have that big opening scene of something happening that leads you into the credits and that theme song. And I felt like here there was maybe too much going on. It didn't really feel focused enough. And like there was this one big scene they were showing us to head into the credits before they get into it. It kind of feels like there's so much going on. You're starting to try and take in all this information, and then before you know it, you're sort of 20 minutes into this movie, and then you have the credits, and then we're somewhere else. So it didn't feel quite as sharp or focused to me as maybe it did on entries like Rogue Nation and Fallout. So yeah, overall, I absolutely loved this latest entry in the Mission Impossible franchise. I went into this thinking if this is anywhere close to Fallout, I'll be happy. And yeah, I would say this is probably just below Fallout, just because of how perfect I think Fallout is. But this is a very close second for me. I think it met my expectations. I loved pretty much everything about this, and it's easily for me the best film of this year so far. I'm sure some people watching this will be wondering whether you can sort of see this in isolation. You know, I went to go and see this on my own the other night, and when I came home I was raving to all my friends about it, and they were wondering whether they could just go and see this. And the thing is with the story here, you could see this in isolation because it does set up a new story. It's not quite as connected as, say, Rogue Nation and Fallout were, whereas you needed to kind of see one to make full sense of the next. You would definitely be able to keep up with what's going on here. I guess the problem is a lot of the characters and the relationships here. To get the most out of this, you really need to see some of the previous entries. You know, especially characters like Ilsa, Rebecca Ferguson's character, to really understand her and appreciate her as the great character she is, you need to see at least Rogue Nation and Fallout for that. So, you know, if you're watching this now and you're thinking, you know, can I just go and see this? Do I need to see the 6 previous movies? I would say if you're not committed to seeing all 6, that's fair enough. But I would say if you really want to go and watch this in the cinema, I would advise you to at least watch Rogue Nation and Fallout before seeing this. So thank you very much for watching my review. I am hoping in the next week to do a ranking video for all 7 of the Mission Impossible films. You know, such a different set of movies. You know, you've got different styles here, different directors, different tones. And I thought it would just be quite fun to rank all of these together. And I feel like it's quite a unique franchise in that, you know, when the 6th and 7th movie are the best ones in the franchise, one where it actually gets better as it goes along, is definitely quite rare. I'm not actually sure. I can't, off the top of my head right now, think of any series that are actually like that. So definitely an interesting one to talk about. So please do come and join me for that. So please do leave me a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you've been enjoying my content, and I'll see you next time.